Players have already chosen their characters. We're going to go to Tabletop Simulator. They're now flipping to see who goes first. Alright, first round is going to be Petersonian's New 13 versus Trillium's Umina. New 13 dedicated keep-away character from Blaze Blue, Season 5. Umina, pretty flexible, generally regarded as a control character, usually considered to be good at range, although not against dedicated rangers, dedicated zoners in a fighting game sense, sorry. Also capable of close-range heavyweight play due to her overall utility, and stun immunity being a good thing to have. Alright, this is an exciting set. Both Petersonian and Trillium are 3-0 at this stage. We're in round 4 of Jungy's Japes. Alright, we have a Mole 4 and I think that was a Mole 6. No, excuse me, it had to be a 5. Yeah, that's how that works. Alright, Umina moving into range 2. Not range 1, that's a bit interesting. News Kit is not exactly stellar at close range, but it's probably, well, at least arguably better at 2 than at 1. Let's take a look. Sword Summoner doesn't work at 2. Super Rage works at 2 and 1. At 2 it can beat Sweep. Sickle Storm beats Sweep at 2, doesn't work at 1. Sword Dance works at 2 but not 1. Again, also beats Sweep. Spike Chaser works at ranges 1 or 2. Alright, we have Luminous Slave, telegraphing a character ability Grasp, and then we have Umina adding Assault to the Dreamlands, so that she can have a Stun Immune Assault on tap, making sure she can close the distance against New if New tries to build range. Alright, we have a Force Cost for Gravity Seed. Opponent cannot move. While this boost is in play, Umina cannot move herself by any means. That includes Advance, Close, Retreat, Move Action, whatever. It goes to gauge at the start of New's next turn, so if Umina sits back for this turn, which looks like she is considering doing, it will simply go to gauge with no particular effect. Probably exactly what New wants. Without the ability to move, Umina is not really threatening that assault. Alright, Umina preps, which means that's going to go to gauge. Give New her turn. Alright. Oops. It's now New turns proper. Or New's turn proper, excuse me. Caller chiming in the chat. That is correct. At range 2, Umina is threatening a Dark Thoughts. Where is it? There we go. Very powerful projectile, which would actually defeat a typical telegraphed Super Rage or a Cross. And if New were to play Grasp, it would force New to pull Umina in to avoid getting hit back for 6. We have a parry. Looks unsuccessful. Alright, here we have the hand reveal. Sweep, Sweep, Grasp, Grasp, Dark Thoughts, Hollow Space, and Out of Minds. Pretty exciting. We do see that Dark Thoughts. We also see 2 EX normals, both of which are much better at range 1 than at range 2. So that's fairly interesting. It is now Umina's turn. She can move to range 1. She could also boost that Hollow Space to get rid of a potential reading. The boost on Hollow Space lets her name a card and steal it from the opponents, putting it into her Dreamlands. Right now she has 2 known normals, but they're both fairly good normals, so she might not want to just get rid of them in order to avoid the reading threat. Stark Reflections will be one way of dealing with that. She is moving to range 1. That's the other way of dealing with it, since even if she gets red on a Grasp or a Sweep, The EX is extremely difficult to beat. She does give up that copy of Dark Thoughts, which, always sad to see it go. That is a 6-card projectile. Alright. New retreats 2 spaces with a boost in Assault. It's backstep. Retreat up to 4. It is now Umina's turn. There's no particularly safe play as long as this boost is on the board, since Nu can use her character ability in conjunction with it to play a Grasp that hits at range 2 to 5. Our decisions for Umina. Let's double check the math. I believe it's 2 to 5. So, Grasp has a minimum and maximum range of 1, so if you use Nu's character ability, that will become range 4 to 5. If you combine it with Luminous Slave, that makes the minimum range decrease by 2, so it goes from 4 to 5 to 2 to 5. Yep, checks out. Every card in Exceed has a minimum range and a maximum range. Well, every attacker, I should say. Alright, here we go. Dark Reflections. Yep, probably calling Focus. No, and we do not see a Focus. We do see an EX Grasp on Nu's side, as well as a Dive, a Cross, and 2 copies of Calamity Sword, a very exciting Ultra. Excuse me. It appears that Umina may have, yes, just straight up deleted a card from her hands. Players are going to rewind time, which is a highly unsafe feature, not recommended in tournament play. Or in casual play, honestly, but, you know, use it when it's necessary. This is why you should not delete cards. It is a bad idea. It is prone to causing accidents. Players are now going to try to recover the game states. And I think we're already past the point at which it was deleted. Looks like they're just going to create an extra copy. But yeah, this is, I don't even know what the real-life equivalent of this is. I guess the real-life equivalent is having a reference copy of your deck next to your deck, and then occasionally accidentally drawing from the wrong deck, right? Like, don't do this. Regardless, that was the end of Umina's turn. It is now Nu's turn. Alright, waiting for Nu's play now, I believe. Striking, and do we see a character ability? We do not? Interesting. I think that telegraphs a spike at this point, since it beats Umina's known options. Does lose to that assault, however. We know this is not Grasp, because Grasp does not hit, because Nu did not use her character ability. Well, Umina considering that response. Yep, that is Assault's going to come in, hit that dive. Alright, it was a mid-speed, not the mid-speed I thought it was, but mid-speed nonetheless. Alright, Nu takes 4 and is now at range 1. Umina's turn. She's still holding that stun immune Assault over Nu. For those wondering what just happened, Shadow Chorus, when it's revealed as an attack, becomes a copy of the card in her Dreamlands. So, Umina played a Stun Immune Assault. The reason it was Stun Immune was because of the effect of Dreamland itself. When you strike with this card or a copy of this card, you have Stun Immunity. Note also that when you reveal this attack refers to the when you reveal your attack timing. It does not mean that if, for example, your opponent's parries a card, it becomes a copy of the card in your Dreamlands. Like, nothing like that. That's silly. Also, they cannot reading assaults and require you to respond with Shadow Chorus, because when Shadow Chorus is in your hand, it is not a copy of assault in this example. Alright, looks like we have face-up Sun Immune Assault. It is face-up because setting the card from Dreamlands makes it very obvious what card it is. Technically, it should be set face down, but no one cares. Alright, looks like Nu is going to take the trade. Hit with Grasp, push 2, let the Assault come back in, hit for 4. And now Umina strikes. Probably a sweep. Could be a Grasp. Nu responds with Mix-Up. It is Grasp-like. It is Terror Whispers. Going to put a card from discard back into Dreamlands. That will stun Nu's Assault. Alright, Hollow Space. Alright, this dodges attacks at range 1 and has an after effect that lets it move. Very good utility card. Also pretty decent with stun immunity on it, because against ranged characters, this in particular lets you always guarantee you can move in. And often trade against projectiles. This is very solid. Play and counterplay. Alright, looks like Nu is going to spend Grasp and Cross's Force to play the boost Broken Weapon, shuffle her hand to reject, draw 5 cards, then draw for end of turn. Alright, Umina prepares. Feeling comfortable that she has the advantage here, no doubt. Alright, Air Dash, boost on Super Rage, advance or retreat 3. Nu chooses to advance 3. Get out of the corner. Umina looking like she wants to strike. Has fairly good options in the form of both Hollow Space and Assault. There's one Assault left in her deck, although one has been used. Could also be a dive. What do we see in response from Nu? Cross would normally be a safe defense here, however notably, that Hollow Space would actually catch it. Cross misses and retreats 3 spaces to range 6, then Hollow Space would hit for 4 and be able to advance 3 afterwards, keeping Umina outside of range 4. Alright, we have a Super Rage. It is the Hollow Space! Alright, that has stun immunity, so I'm kind of waiting for Umina to hit back. So she... what is happening? Alright, choosing not to retreat. Waiting for Umina to hit and then advance 4, or sorry, advance 3. There it is. Yep, okay. She could have chosen to retreat, of course, but she still had to deal the damage and had the steer gauge. This does not get discarded because she was not stunned. Alright, and yeah, Nu chose not to retreat with the befores and says you may retreat 1, which is identical to retreat up to 1, by the way. And then hit push 1, which actually forced that Hollow Space to go back into range 4, which didn't really matter because the advance 3 takes her back to range 1. Umina controlling spacing very, very well here. Nu managing to trade, but she's a little bit behind the curve. She's missed a couple of very important mix-ups. Got stunned by that Terror Whispers on defense because she didn't have a strong option to play. And then got hit by that Stun Immune Assault, played face up. It is now Nu's turn, I believe. Looking like the Exceed action. Yep. So Nu has when you exceed, draw a card. It is not printed on the back, as it typically is. It is printed on the front, so I can't show it to you. But believe me, she has when you exceed, draw 1. Then she draws for end of turn, putting her at 7 cards in hand. Ooh, getting rid of that EX Sweep and EX Grasp. Throwing away all those normals to change cards 4, drawing a total of 5. Alright, Umina has decided those are no longer valuable to hold on to. Perhaps because the threat of reading now is far, far greater, since Nu will retreat 1 automatically, at the start of her next turn. Alright. News turn begins, so she'll discard one of these cards from her overdrive area and perform her overdrive effect, which was the aforementioned automatic retreats. Automatic isn't quite the word. Mandatory is definitely accurate, though. Alright, discard Super Rage, retreats 1. Now all of her attacks have +0 to form range and hit, you may advance 3, meaning she has very, very stable offense here. I think there's still a known grasp in that hand, but I'm not sure what else is in it. Yeah. Counting cards, looks like she's considering a reading anyway. Yep, there is the reading. And here's a strike. The call is Spike, and it is apparently successful. Alright, advances 3, hits with dive. Does choose to advance 3 again with her hit effects. Deals 5. Alright, that is very valuable, actually. It also keeps her at a range that's pretty tightly controlled because she's not getting hit by that stun immune holospace. Alright, let's see. Trill, EX transforming, which is to say taking the action to play the transformation. Slipping away by discarding one copy of Out of Mind and then putting the other into play. Now, when Umina places a card in her Dreamland, she may spend 1 force to move 1. Fairly good. Oh, we have another excuse me. Excuse me, we're not there yet. Yep, start of turn, overdrive, retreat 1, then reading. Okay. Yep, New getting ahead of things. Very excited about landing that reading spike, and was successful to do so. Alright, Umina spends 2 force to advance, discarding copy of a no. Wait, hold on, reconsidering. Yep, discarding copy of a Nakath to take the move action. New's final overdrive effect is going to kick now, dropping her back to range 2 and flipping her back to normal mode. And so she does. Okay. Leveled out that life disadvantage, although now she's at a resource disadvantage. +1 speed, hit you may push or pull 1, which is the same as push or pull up to 1. Alright, that's reasonable. Gives her a little bit of stability here. Umina looking like she might consider exceeding, and she does, yes. Alright, Umina is now a different character, essentially. She is the Dreamer Awakens. Her Dreamlands has a different effect, and at the start of each of her turns, she will look at the top of her deck and then either add it to her Dreamlands or discard it, meaning she will start to go through cards very quickly. Whenever she does add a card to Dreamlands, she adds the old one to the owner's hand, in this case her hand, of course, and she can spend a force to move 1 due to the effect of slipping away. Alright, so start of a turn, she looks at focus, add it to her deck. Oh, sorry, and New 13 took the manual reshuffle action, adding astral strands. Alright, cool. Alright, so now, on Umina's turn, she looked at the top deck, which was focus, added its Dreamlands, returning Hollow Space to her hand. She then immediately boosted Dark Reflections, boosted Hollow Space, name a card, and caused the opponents to discard it into Umina's Dreamlands. The card she named was the Astral Sword of Destruction, which New 13 just picked up on the manual reshuffle action. So Umina is now holding Sword of Destruction. This is extremely dangerous because Umina's Exceed ability lets her Dreamlands add triggers on the card in her Dreamlands to her attack, meaning she could potentially seal Sword of Destruction to gain hit range 1 plus 10 power. Pity she got rid of that EX Grasp. I think there is 1 copy of Terror Whispers left, although notably New has +1 speed and hits push or pull up to 1. I believe Umina is known to have a focus in hand, but both foci are down on New's side, or at least were, prior to the reshuffle, and she has not drawn any cards since then, so she does not have a reading threat. Yeah, that specific timing for reshuffle, right before Umina had her first overdrive trigger to pick up Hollow Space into her hands, practically handed Umina the Astral, which could be pretty devastating here. Notably, Umina's going to want to seal that. Oh, here we go. Looks like a move action. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Yeah, it looked like 4 force. Right, okay, so then Umina start of turn, looked at the top card of her deck, which in this case was a block, decided to discard it, wants to hold on to that sort of destruction threat, and then appeared to be considering boosting Run to move to range 1. May have decided against that, actually. No, yeah, here we go, moved to range 1, there you go. Alright, New's turn. Nu is low on resources. Things are dangerous now. Going to spin a force retreat one, trying to play footsies here. Alright, Umina looks at the top deck. Notably, Umina doesn't get her start of... So, when Umina is cycling cards through her Dreamlands using her Exceed ability, she can use Slipping Away to keep in chasing the opponent or backing away from the opponent. However, that requires her to cycle cards to Dreamlands, which in this case would actually return Sword of Destruction to Nu's hands. That is not a thing she wants to do, so she's probably just going to continue discarding cards here. It's surprising, actually, that she's taking this long to decide on whether or not this card is going to enter her Dreamlands. Looks like she is counting cards off-screen. Presumably, yeah, Petersonian permitted Umina's player to make a reference copy of her deck, shuffle, and then search. Also a thing that we don't generally run into in real life. Take the opponent's deck, photocopy it. Alright, decides to discard it after all. That is that is her last speed 7. That is pretty relevant, actually. She's starting to thin her options. She is taking the reshuffle action herself. Looks like Petersonian has made a reference copy of the discard pile for easy searching, so that the game does not necessarily have to slow down here. Alright, Nu 13's turn. Nu still has the speed advantage and the hit effect on this boost. Alright, Umina start a turn effect, looks at the top card of the deck, decides to discard it, still holding that threat of Sword of Destruction over Nu as long as possible. Alright, spinning and forced to move on. Yep, keep playing high impact footsies here. It is now Nu's turn. Nu runs out to range 3. Umina looks at the top card of her deck, decides to discard it again. She's starting to thin her options, but it might all be worth it. EX attack, telegraphing EX dive. Does Nu have a non-curve defense? It is clearly not EX assaults, which is the only other option that would let her trigger that hit range 1 effects. This could be decisive. If EX dive lands, it's probably game. Oh, it's not an EX at all. Oh, she didn't decide to seal it. Excuse me, I didn't realize. Well, in that case, it was clearly not going to be that. Alright, we have an invalid attack, which they're doing this slightly out of order. Actually, Umina should have validated first. Okay, and discard the extra copy, although it's not super important if that happens now or later. Alright, hands are... Ooh, hands are exciting. 1124, Dark Thoughts. That is only a +1, and I think that was only a +1 on Nu's side as well, which means this is not actually going to do that much damage and may not break the suite, if I've counted correctly. Yep, that was 5 damage. Does not break the suite. The hit effect can call the Dreamlands, forces both players to reveal their hands and gains power for each special and ultra revealed. So notably, trying to pull a card to discard and slightly whiffed due to timing. There we go, gets rid of Dark Thoughts. Alright, so notably, Umina has 2 readings in hands to threaten, and Nu has 1. Now, Nu's hit effects is optional, actually, so it's perfectly illegal not to do it. Or perfectly legal not to do it, excuse me. Does choose to push 1. Alright, so it is now Nu's turn. Well, that dive with +10 power is on deck, but Nu has an opportunity to do something here. I'm curious what we're going to see happen. Maybe the reading dive and play... I think there was a grasp in that hand, but I'm not entirely sure. We have a reading. And we... Okay, Umina being a bit preemptive here. Yeah. And then Nu decides if she's going to use her character ability, and she does. Okay. And now things are revealed. Okay, what? What? Alright, Umina chose to seal Sword of Destruction and then played the suite. That was an interesting decision. Clearly just trying to make sure that that is gone from her Dreamland so that she can start using her character ability without needing to rely on setting up this amazing combo. Alright. Focus needs to go to discard. Alright, so yeah, so Nu dealt 3 damage, excuse me, pushed 2. Got rid of her own known normals, gained some distance, and Umina has clearly given up hope of the hits range 1 +10 power effect. So her start of turn, she puts a card in Dreamlands. She now may spin a force to move 1 if she wishes. As strong as the threat was, she has now lost her lead in a big way, and is in pretty dire threats. Excuse me? Excuse me? Oh. Okay, paying 5 force. To get to range 1. Alright, so Umina's options are very, very shallow here, and she's starting to burn through that deck. New is going to exceed, so she draws a... Oh, there's the when you exceed, draw 1. It's on the front side. Alright, Umina, yep, adding block to Dreamlands, returning the old card to hand, probably doing this just for the Force Edge, because she's... Oh, not even that. Nope, she just decides to change cards 1, which is functionally identical to the prepare action. That's a little bit surprising. Alright, News Overdrive will now kick in. Standing by in case they miss it. Alright, both players counting cards pretty carefully here. Thanks to Umina's Exceed ability, she is going through an extra card every turn, essentially. Puts her at risk of burning through all of her options. They are mostly going to be filtering into her hands, but that's not necessarily good enough when she's at this much of a life deficit. 6 life is not huge unless you're up against someone who can keep you away without ever letting you land a hit in the first place. Amusingly, that is something both these characters specialize in. New just currently has the advantage. Still waiting for that overdrive effects. There we go. Alright. And New is likely to strike, but not guaranteed. What do we see? Yep, this is a strike. Alright. New now counting her own cards. Excuse me, Umina now counting her own cards. Wild Swing across, that's pretty good. Oh, nope, that's game. Yep. So Umina retreats 3, and then New draws 2 cards and pays at least 2 force, because Sword Dance's range is 2 to 5, thanks to New being in Exceed mode. Good game. Alright, that's game 1, so New 13, taking her out of the lineup. Petersonian's remaining characters are Luciya, the Thunderbird from Season 2, 7th Cross, and Vega, aka Claw, from Street Fighter, that is Season 3. Trillium still has Umina, of course, also from 7th Cross, and also has Hazama, or perhaps Hazama, or a pronunciation I can't quite handle that's between those two things, and the Beheaded, that's from Seasons 5, Blaze Blue, and 4, Dead Cells, respectively. The Beheaded is a solo fighter. Season 4 is, of course, mostly Shovel Knight characters. But then there's the Beheaded. Alright. At almost an hour, if you're not drinking water, please remember to do so. Game 2. Alright, Petersonian's Luciya versus Trill's Umina. Alright, well, we've seen some Umina play, now we're going to see more of it. Trill clearly confident that his Umina can take a round. Well, take a game, at least. You can only win one game with the character before you have to swap them out, which means you can't actually just win a round on one character. Alright. Umina taking first. Thinking about that mulligan. Oh, sorry, Umina already mulliganed. Luciya is now mulliganing. I was not paying attention, so I'm not sure how many cards Umina molds. Alright, mulling 3. Alright, here we go. Umina's up. Probably going to dream something turn 1. That is the standard opener in this matchup. On the contrary, she moves to range 5. Alright, well that turns off the threat of Firefly Gunner, a very powerful move by Luciya, which can dodge attacks at ranges 3 and 4, making it pretty good at opening positions. We have a preemptive Manta Strike. Yep, Dark Thoughts is a successful play off of this. Luciya pulls 2 and then advances 4 with Manta Strike, which will at the top of her discard to engage and gain an extra point of damage from her character ability, which is whenever she moves past the opponent, she does non-lethal damage, be at the top of her discard pile to engage. So she's triggering that here. However, she still ends up at range 2, and a total of 5 damage does not break that guard of 6. There we go. Alright. Dark Thoughts lands, steals that Firefly Gunner, which Umina was trying to avoid, so this is pretty much exactly what she could have wanted, I think. Alright, change cards 4, discarding a dive and both copies of Call of the Dreamlands. Makes sense. Ultras this early are not necessarily valuable. She needs more options. Alright, range 2 is awkward for both of these characters. It is now Luciya's turn, but she burned quite a few resources on that, especially since she had to deal with the random discard from Dark Thoughts. I believe it is Luciya's turn. Double checking the text on Spiraling Descent. While a card is implicitly face up in Umina's Dreamlands, since face down cards have no text or types, the opponent cannot boost with a copy of the card, and copies of it are invalid for the opponent. So Luciya's other copy of Firefly Gunner is essentially dead as long as a copy remains here. Also, interestingly, Umina can strike with this, of course, or with a copy of it using Shadow Course from her hands, which would then have a stun immune Firefly Gunner, quite a bit more reliable than a regular old-fashioned Firefly Gunner. What was the transformation? Oh, this is actually an excellent transformation. That is valuable. Storm's Fury. When Luciya initiates a strike, she may spend 2 force to move 1. Considered certainly, she has 3 transformations. It's certainly one of the 2 better ones by virtually everyone's estimation. Whether it is the best or the second best, your mileage may vary. And of course your matchup may vary. Alright, Luciya boosting light. It is now Umina's turn. Alright, striking. Luciya wild swing in defense. Okay, it's just a block. Both players play block. Umina clearly trying to bait something. Not successful in doing so, since Luciya spent no resources and in fact gained a resource. On the other hand, Luciya did get rid of that light, which is probably what Umina wanted most. That's what we call a poor man's tech, by the way, striking with something of low value or a wild swing in order to force the opponent to get rid of boosts. Even if you expect to lose the strike, it's a way to cut your losses. Alright, Luciya prepares, back to Umina. EX attack. Okay, this is probably what she wanted. This telegraphs EX out of mind, which would be speed 6, power 7, or sorry, power 8. It is actually just EX assaults, hitting for 5, gaining advantage, and then preparing with the advantage. Pretty powerful, pretty aggressive, makes sense. You don't want Luciya to have a long game, as she will build up power over time pretty consistently. Ooh, second copy of Assault drops for preemptive. This telegraphs Talon Sweep, which would lose handily to a Hollow Space if Umina calls it. Could also just be... Well, there's a few options. Could just be a dive to get out of range 1. Could be Bug Zapper. Could be Downburst. Oh! could be Trill's internet dropping. We will wait for that. Alright. So let's see. +2 speed, so yeah, second copy of Preemptive, dropping pretty early. Not necessarily a bad thing. You want to use valuable cards when they're valuable. And this is a very good boost. This Telegraph's pretty high investment, and at range 1, Hollow Space I think still beats everything. There's the Hollow Space, there's the Talent Sweep, yep. Talent Sweep misses, Hollow Space misses, and then moves. Talent Sweep's effect is a hit effect, and at range 1 she does not hit because of the effect on Hollow Space. Alright, Umina takes the corner, ensuring that her other Hollow Space can be of full value, and then she strikes. Probably a Grasp, maybe a Terror Whispers, maybe an Out of Mind, maybe a Sweep. Lots and lots of options here. A Focus. Okay, this is Terror Whispers. Alright, forces Umina to load her discard with something from... load her Dreamlands with something from her discard, which is going to cause Firefly Gunner to get discarded. However, that does give her her Hollow Space back. It also trades rather badly into the Focus, which will also let Luciya draw a card. Alright, solid for Luciya. Umina getting the value that she wanted out of it in the form of a transformation and this card into her Dreamlands. Alright, Luciya retreats one as an action with the move action by discarding one card, which is to say, paying one force. Right, Umina moves... Umina doesn't move. Belay that. Umina reconsidering her life decisions. Boost Light. Alright. Which Luciya promptly attacks. Yep. Boost Defend. It's a very solid play. Luciya doesn't tend to do a lot of damage. We have a parry after Luciya prepares. Parry is unsuccessful and is Sweep Dive Cross, Bug Zapper, and Ride the Lightning. Alright. Yeah, defend against a character who doesn't do a lot of damage is obviously pretty useful because it means you can get through mostly whatever you want without getting stuns. And Luciya's damage values are fairly low until she exceeds. Bug Zapper does 2 up to 6, depending on range. Manta Strike does 4, sometimes 5. Talent Sweep does 2, 3, or 4, depending. Downburst does 2, sometimes 3. Ideally 3. Ride the Lightning does 2. 1 or 2, actually. Doesn't always even do 2. Alright, Luciya striking. Telegraph's Cross. Pretty dangerous in case Umina reads it and decides to throw out Dark Thoughts. It was Dive. Interesting. Alright. Hits for 2 after armor, I believe. Yep, 5 minus 3, and then takes 4. And Umina draws a card. Trading down, but building gauge. The dive is pretty interesting. Range 2 dive. Well, it does beat the Dark Thoughts, which is the answer to the Telegraphed Cross. Fierce. Alright. Umina claiming that she is comfortable with her defensive options. Boosting power is great if you are confident that you can convert it into damage. Oh, we have a reading. It is successful. Okay, that is a 7 damage out of minds. As a hit effect, it adds a card from her Dreamlands to her gauge, which had 4 printed power, so she gains +4 power. And with Fierce, that makes a total of 7. Whew, that is a very powerful punish. May actually end up being decisive with such a hefty swing. She also gets Transformation slipping away, which we saw in use last game. Alright, Luciya needs to make up the difference pretty sharply, and is running into some trouble after a couple rather important plays were denied. Luciya checking that discard pile real quick. And checking her own discard pile. Luciya trying to be careful here since, well, she is at a steep life disadvantage, and resources are fairly close to even, although she might be a little bit behind, depending on how you count it. Like, Umina has more transformations, but usually values them lower than Luciya does. They have the same amount of gauge, but Lucia's gauge tends to get more mileage. Alright, we have Firefly Gunner being boosted. That is the Whirlwind for +3 speed. Ghost Gauge at the end of Lucia's next turn if it still exists. Umina's decision of how to deal with that. Probably just Luciya trying to buy time and build gauge. Alright, Umina checking discards. Oh, chooses to exceed. Alright. Going to start putting cards through Dreamlands and giving her mobility. Luciya strikes. Does she? Oop. Excuse me. She does strike. It is the Hollow Space, which is going to force this grass to whiff. Alright. Whirlwind first. They correct it. Umina chooses apparently to retreat. Tragic. Umina staying on top of things. Alright, her start of turn effect is going to go off now. Yeah, I was expecting Luciya to play Storm's Fury, spending 2 force to retreat 1 to avoid the threat of Hollow Space. Alright, we have an interesting card in Dreamlands now, an Unpadoth, which has a before effect, places the opponent's attack in Dreamlands. It looks like she's going to use Silver Key, spending 2 gauge to force Luciya to Wild Swing, with rather disastrous effects. Luciya Wild Swing a Downburst, which has before pull 2, which means from range 1 she goes to range 2 and then misses. Now, she will still deal 1 damage with her character ability and gain a gauge, however, only 1 and not a total of 3. And also, Downburst will not end up in gauge. This also comes nowhere close to stunning the sweep, which Umina herself played. Which I believe... What did the sweep rip out? Talent Sweep, I think. Second copy. That's rough. Alright. So Luciya dealt 1, and Umina dealt 6. This is a good use for gauge. Alright, 3 gauge, looking at the... Whoops! Looking at the 3 gauge flip. There we go. Right, when you exceed, add your hand to your gauge and draw 5 cards. So Luciya pays the cost, exceeds, adds her hand to her gauge, which included a cross, bug zapper, and Ride the Lightning. Draws 5, then 1 for end of turn. Alright, yeah, she needs to turn things around pretty sharply here. Umina's start of turn is now going to kick in. Looks like Umina is taking a moment to check Lucia's discard pile first. It is Shadow Chorus, which cannot be placed face up in the Dreamlands by its own text. Alright, 2 gauge for the Wild Swing, which... Yep, Luciya Wild Swings a Grasp on defense against Grasp, which means Umina wins speed tie and does lethal. Thunderbird had a decent amount of damage stocked up, ready to go, but it was too little too late. Alright, that's game 2, decided in Trill's favor with Umina. So both Nu and Umina are out, which means Petersonian has Luciya and Vega. Trill has Hazama and the Beheaded. We are going to game 3. Most exciting. It looks like Petersonian may just be committing ahead of time to playing Luciya for the 3rd game. Although technically you would choose secretly and then reveal. We'll see what Trill picks. Hazama and Beheaded. Well, we'll find out momentarily. We have a Rogue Dreamlands on the board here. That's not supposed to be here. I'm sure they'll get rid of it. Alright, Hazama. Or perhaps Hazama. Again, I'm not so good at pronouncing things. Alright. An inveterate trickster from Season 5, that is Blaze Blue. Hazama's character ability lets him either bluff or just gain action-efficient movements. When he initiates a strike, he may spend a force to place one of his Ouroboros cards in a space at range 1 from himself. His 2 Ouroboros cards have the same back, which says, when you place this or remove it, keep the side face up. In other words, you always keep these hidden from the opponent, except when you reveal your attack. When you reveal the attack, flip this card in Performance Now effect. One of them says, one of them says, now move into the space. The other one does not have a now effect. And they both say, clean up, remove this from the arena. In other words, he can place a card down without you knowing whether or not he's actually going to be moving. Also, why is there a card in his hand? Oh, the Astral. He hasn't set it aside yet. There we go. Alright. Petersonian choosing who goes first. Alright, Luciya's up first. Hazama up second. Here we go. Hazama mulling early, mulls 6. Technically second player mulls seconds, but not that big a deal. It's possible Luciya also just didn't mull or chose mull 0. Nope, that's mull 2. Okay. Alright, Luciya's up. Turn 1. Here we go. So Petersonian's Luciya versus Trillium's Hazama. Game 3. Rebel 3. Actually, wait, hold on. Alright, we have a parry. Unsuccessful. Probably calling out one of those very high value ultras. Alright. Block Sweep Dive, Hungry Coils, Venom Sword, and I believe Rising Fang were revealed just then. We have a parry in return, probably calling Focus. And we have a hand reveal in return. Alright, Dive Talon Sweep, Manta Strike, Skies of Flame, and Ride the Lightning. Alright, well both players know most of each other's hands, with only one unknown card each, due to their end-of-turn draws after the parries. Waiting for Hazama to draw for end of turn. There it is. Alright, Luciya's up. Time to decide how to get rid of the liabilities in that hand, or how to make use of its strengths. Okay, the opponent cannot move. You can still move them. Essentially forces Hazama to tech it, since his options at range are very weak. Tends to rely on mobility. Back to Luciya. Alright, she prepares. It is now Hazama's turn. Range 4 is not good for him. He's probably going to come into range 3 fairly soon. 4 is considerably better for Luciya. She is also comfortable at range 3, mind you. Alright, paying force to use the Ouroboros. Here we go. Hopefully Hazama shuffles those, since you're not supposed to let your opponent know which one is which. Deciding what to use to strike. There we go. That's the way. Alright, so Ouroboros goes at range 3 and setting from hand. See, it is probably a movement, but not certainly a movement. It could always be a bait. Alright, Luciya must now respond. Hazama has a variety of mix-up threats at ranges 2 and 3. Falling Fang at speed 6 being an extremely safe option, albeit fairly costly and low yields, but it can beat a sweep at range 3, which is pretty valuable. Alright, we have a focus, we have an assault. Oh, that is very good for Luciya. Wild Swing focus, costs her no cards from hand, actually gets her to draw a card, and trades up. Alright, Hazama gets into range 1, which is a thing that he wanted, for sure. Oh yeah, here's the text on this, by the way. Now, if this is an occupant move to space, clean up, flip this, and remove it. And the other one just says, clean up, flip this, and remove it. So, one is move, one is don't move. Looks like Hazama prepped, it is now Luciya's turn. 8 cards in hands. Well, she has the resources to do what she wants now. True. Calavantis in chat pointing out that Falling Fang is not actually unbeatable. Yep, it loses to range 3 dodges, such as Firefly Gunner. Alright, we have a +2 speed and strike, playing assaults. Alright, here we have the assault focus trade in the other direction. So life totals are going to be even. Luciya threatening that Talon sweep, but not actually playing it, just plays assaults. Gains advantage, now her turn. Hazama trading up, drawing card. EX. Okay, also telegraphs Talon sweep. She's just committed to telegraphing Talon sweep every strike, maybe. It could also be sweep. Could be cross. Could be grasp. Could be bug zapper. Ooh, bug zapper. Alright, range 1 bug zapper. Very scary. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So she'll spend 0, 2, or 4 force to hit. Since for each force she spends, she advances 2. So if she spends 1, she ends up at range 2. If she spends 2, she goes to range 2 and then to range 1. Alright, that is 4 force. So 1, 2, 3, 4, meaning she'll add the top 4 for discard to her gauge with her character ability. Deal 4 extra damage. And then actually hits, so that is a total of 7. Yep, there you go. So 4 force because 1 is an ultra, meaning top 4 cards actually is those 3 and then 1 more. Alright, Hazama boosting Serpent's Redemption. Retreats 2 and also has a force cost reduction on future cards. Luciya's turn. She got a tidy advantage there. Hazama's going to probably try to make up the difference though. Yep. Alright, so he pays 2 force on having fun yet, one being made up for by his boost, and the other being from a card spent from hands. So she discards 2 cards at random, which were both copies of Firefly Gunner, my goodness. And then he strikes with the Falling Fang, which is now, in fact, unbeatable. Well, no, sorry, she still has Ride the Lightning, actually. Alright, the force cost again paid for by this boost. Looks like he's choosing not to push. Gains advantage, deals 3 damage, and his turn. EX attack, probably Rising Fang? Nope, Hungry Coils. Oh yeah, sorry, not Rising. Doesn't stun, actually, deals 4 damage. Luciya has no cards to discard, and she is not stunned, so she is going to hit back for 5. Hazama gains advantage and immediately uses it to exceed, without hesitation, trying to make up this life difference. Alright, his Exceed ability is similar to his character ability, except that he places both Ouroboros, and he places them within ranges 0, 1, or 2, letting him create a much more flexible mix-up. Luciya, and also his Overdrive ability, probably the main reason he actually exceeded here, is each time he discards a card from his Overdrive area, he deals 1 non-lethal damage and gains 1 life. Meaning, if nothing else happens at the end of his Exceed mode duration, he will be at 16, and Luciya will be at 13. It is on Luciya to take action here, to try to kill him before he can gain that life and make the difference. Looking at a change cards, I think. Or possibly an Exceed action, which is generally a more efficient form of change cards. For her, specifically. Alright, paying 1, 2, 3 force, or possibly 3 gauge, can't tell yet. Alright, that was a change cards action. Alright, Hazama discards a card from Overdrive. Gains life, and deals non-lethal damage. It is now his turn proper. He boosts for speed, trying to discourage Luciya from striking into him while he is in Exceed mode. He wants to have time to take advantage of all of his Overdrive triggers. It is now Luciya's turn. Oh. At this point, this is essentially an irreparable game state violation because too many things have happened since then. Hate to see it happen. Yeah, if she had chosen to advance, she would have done one more damage, been at close range, and had one more card engage, which would obviously have been desirable, but she missed it. If she retreated, then she'd be at range 3. Hard to say who would have benefited from that situation. Probably Hazama. Yeah. Generally, this is the kind of violation that you want to catch right away. Wish that I had, unfortunately. I did not. I misremembered which transformation was in play. Only caught it just now while thinking of Luciya's options and what transformations she wants to have. Gonna happen, though. Mistakes are made. Especially during tournament. Alright. Hazama checking Luciya's discards. Luciya prepares. Back to Hazama. Both characters biding time. Hazama so that he can get maximum value out of his Exceed mode. He'll deal non-lethal damage with this effect. Wait, I think he already did, actually. What did I say, 16 to 13 at the end of it? Yeah. So he's dealt 2, gains 2. Alright, he just prepares. It is now Luciya's turn. Hazama again checking Luciya's discards. Alright, Luciya's going to cross over to range 3, gain a gauge, deal a damage, draw for turn. I think she drew. Alright, Hazama's third overdrive trigger, deals damage, gains life. He has +2 speed and he's out range 2. He's definitely in a strong position here. Alright, he's going to draw 3 and strike, boosting Check Out My Snake, the boost on Serpent's Infernal Rapture. Strictly speaking, he should be setting his attack, paying force, etc. before that hits discard. Wait, hold on, is that correct? Hold on, draw 3 and strike. That is an instant boost. Never mind. Strike is declared. Alright, pay force. This is a ordering thing I have actually gotten wrong numerous times, so I had to think about that for a second. But yeah, that is resolved and hits discard sooner than I am used to. Alright, looks like paying a force for Ouroboros. Can place 1 at range 0, and 1 at range... Nope, okay, reconsidering. Alright. Hazama deciding how to handle this mix-up. So Hazama can place... must place both of them, since he's using his Ouroboros, but he can place them at ranges 0 to 2. So 2 spaces behind him, 1 space behind him, on his space, 1 space in front of him, 2 spaces in front of him. Behind and in front, referring to, you know, facing the opponent. Yep. Yeah, it would have, but can't be helped at this point. Alright. Placing 1 at range 0, and 1 at range 3 from Luciya, 1 from himself. So he's going to be at one of these ranges. Luciya doesn't know which. Telegraphing a Devouring Fang or possibly a Spike. This is just a cross, range 2 cross. Gonna outspeed her defensive cross, trying to beat a Spike, no doubt. Hit for 3 and retreats. He does set up range 5 here, which is not exactly good for him. Not exactly great for Luciya, but, well, gets some free value out of the strike at least. Alright, Luciya's turn. Maybe Sokalivontis, but Spike would also have beaten Red Lightning. Alright. Let's see, 14 cards in discard, 10 in deck. Hazama trying to keep careful count of these cards. Also probably trying to make sure he knows his discard order. Hazama has a boost that lets him, as a hit effect, play the topmost continuous boost from his discard pile, so he may just be keeping an eye on that to decide if it's worth playing that boost. Alright, Luciya prepares, and Hazama flips back, discarding the last card of his overdrive, and then performing his overdrive trigger, and then flipping back, technically speaking. So steals one more life. Change cards 4. Apparently doesn't much care about the order of those discards. Never mind. I was mistaken. Rebuilding that hands. Range 5, again, not very impressive for him. Not exactly impressive for Luciya either, but at least she has options. Oh, we have a reading. This could be big. It appears that instead of... No, here's the hand reveal. Okay. Block, focus, spike, cross. Yep. And then devouring and devouring. Alright, probably called an assault or a dive here, trying to get him to come into a melee attack. Yep, there's the sweep. Alright, Hazama just plays block, and then reading and spike. Alright, tries to do the exact same maneuver, but he, however, is successful. Forces her to play an assault to move into a closer range attack. Also, forces her to give up some of that range that he was probably not happy to build. This is... That was interesting. Not a great spot for Luciya. Especially since she has both Firefly Gunners down. I don't think she has an answer... well, that's not quite true. Never mind. Alright, she's striking. Forcing a mix-up here. What have we got? We got Downburst, which is going to beat the grass cleanly. Hit for a total of 3. Since she pulls him 2, then deals to the... There we go. Deals 1 with her character ability, and adds top of her discard to her gauge. Alright. Again, she is not in a good position, but being in the corner is actually more comfortable for her, specifically because she has Ride the Lightning in her deck. Ride the Lightning allows her to cross out of the corner to long range. Oh, looks like we're doing some tabletop simulator shenanigans. No, okay, just checking these cards. Alright, Husband's turn. The advantage at present is essentially his. Looks like he's going to take the reshuffle action, get that Astral into hands. Probably looking to burst to build some quick card advantage before she can recover from her current state of disadvantage. Looks like Petersonian copied the discard and is currently searching it. No, that wouldn't be the discard. Alright. Well... Whatever the players decided to use to take their notes, that's what he's doing. Alright, looks like we have a... What is this? Paying force to move? No, paying 3 gauge to exceed. Which will draw exactly that deck. Since when she has when you exceed, draw 5 cards, and then she will draw for end of turn. Ooh, okay. That deck has some good cards in it then, because they didn't drop just then. Oh, Yep. Well, at least they're all in one place. Alright, so yeah, Bug Zapper block. Oh, sorry, no, Bug Zapper's transform. So, yeah, block Red Lightning, Downburst sweep. What else? Apparently Grasp and Talon sweep, judging by the copy made over there. Alright, we have a burst. If Hazama can draw into a reading here, he could close the game immediately. as it is, he doesn't necessarily have a way to defeat Ride the Lightning. Looks like he's going to use the Ouroboros. If he wants to at least threaten Ride the Lightning, he'll probably move out to range 3. No? Go to range 1. Okay. Alright, so this telegraphs the EX Devouring that we knew was in his hand earlier. It could, of course, be EX Grasp, which would actually beat Ride the Lightning on defense, or beat a defensive Ride the Lightning. So Luciya has to make the call here. Sweep to beat Grasp, or block, or Ride the Lightning to beat EX Devouring Fang. Of course, if she... yeah, if she really, really calls the range 1... Nope, it was the EX Grasp. Harsh. Alright, so she pays 2 gauge. Yep, Hazama did indeed play the movements Ouroboros. Yep, she takes 4 damage, and it looks like Hazama's choosing to push her into the corner. That's 1 gauge, that's 2 gauge. There we go. Alright, thank you. Yes, correcting discard order. Because you pay the gauge cost on reveal. Just doing things a bit out of order here. Alright. Well, things are not good for Luciya, but this is still recoverable, because she is the Thunderbird. Hand is not very good at doing that, although Hazama's grasps are both down. She probably has a perfectly safe Talon Sweep if she's inclined to play it. Only and noticeable drawback to that being that if she goes out to range 4 and doesn't, well, let's see. No, there's a block still, actually, never mind. If she goes out to range 4, she's at risk of getting hit by Eternal Coils of the Dragon Serpent, which is his Speed 6 Projectile Ultra, where he whips you back and forth. Wait a minute, I just realized. Yeah, Sweep was not the play against EX Devouring. Grasp was. And at range 2, Downburst was. Yeah, Sweep takes 7 damage and gets stunned. I don't know what I was thinking. Alright, this is the Talon Sweep. Ooh, Invalid Ultra. Value for her. Both copies of the Invalid. Oh, man. That actually makes this move a lot safer for her. Alright, so she pays 1 force for the effect, paying it from gauge, so that she'll have a total of 4... Huh? 4? Yeah, there we go. 4 damage. Yeah, so her Exceed ability is that whenever she pays a card from gauge, whether it's... no matter what she spends it on, it enters play as a face-down continuous boost that reads +1 power. So she paid the force cost by spending a card from gauge, meaning she had +2 power. Looks like we have a change cards 5 coming up from Hazama, trying to get some answers very, very quickly before he explodes and dies. Ooh, things are getting very exciting here. Yep, he probably wants Falling Fang. She probably also changes cards, actually, given what we know about that hands. She might decide to back up, build some range. Nope, that is a change cards 4. Alright. Here we go, it's Hazama's turn. Alright, he is almost certainly planning on moving in. It says your force cost are reduced. You may strike. Opponent sets their card first if you do. He is striking. Luciya sets an attack from hand, fairly confident she can deal with whatever this is. Suggesting perhaps a block, perhaps a cross, perhaps a Ride the Lightning. Ooh, is grandstanding. Oh, that's confident. Alright. When you set your attack, you may spend force if you do both players' attacks at +1 power. Yep. Alright, she is paying for that cost from gauge, so she has +2 power, Hazama has +1. Looks like he is going to set this from hand and then use the Ouroboros. This is shorthand, by the way. Oh my goodness! That's lethal. That is an 8 power flyer for the gunner for game. Whew. Alright, she calls the mix-up dead on. He played a Falling Fang, an attack which is a 2-3-3-6, but attacks at range 3 do not hit Firefly Gunner, and she fearlessly gave herself +2 power, which, to be honest, didn't have much of a drawback because giving Hazama +1 power doesn't really improve his chances of killing her. She's at 1 life. That was a glorious, glorious mix-up call. Alright. Well, there we go. So let's see. Nu takes it over Umina, Umina takes it over Luciya, and Luciya takes it over Hazama. Nice little chain of victories there. Alright, well, hope everybody was duly entertained. This has been an excellent tournament set. Man, things are getting really exciting as we're getting up into the 3 to 4, third and fourth rounds. Looking forward to next week, which should be the last round of Swiss, if I remember correctly.